What if I told you you could reach much further than you realize? Gary here for Climb Mechanics, and I just want to talk about cutting loose on steep terrain and how we can use our core and our hip orientation to keep our feet up. So on steep terrain especially, there's a tendency for us to cut our feet loose, especially when we're stretched out. And it's really important, obviously, to keep your feet on. It takes weight off the hands and it allows you to get better orientations on the way you pull on the handholds. The other thing is that if you swing out from the wall, you're going to go even beyond the plumb line and get really bad orientations on the hold. So if we can keep our feet on even though we're really stretched out, we're generally going to be able to climb better. So the main factor, I think, that cuts our feet loose is our butt sagging out from the wall. So that's what's losing us length. So we're turning from a straight line into a triangle. And in my last video, we talked a bit about how we can stay low but get lots of reach by getting our hips into the wall. And this is the sort of same thing. So for our maximum reach, we want to be making a straight line from our hands through our hips to the foothold. And when we're really, really stretched out, we really need for our spine and our hips to not be kinking and losing any length there. So in Justin's video this week, he talked about how our pelvic tilt and the arch in the lumbar spine affect our core strength. And the other thing about that is it also affects length you can make. So if you're twerking your butt out and arching your spine, you're actually making a squiggly line between your hand and your foot. Whereas if you really engage them to be nice and aligned, you'll be able to reach further and be stronger and be more likely to keep your feet on. So we want to think about trying to tuck our butt in and then bring the ribs down so that we can be nice and lined up instead of arching like that. So Hakan's going to demonstrate on the moonboard a hard, long, stretched out move, and the feet are really bad and slippery, so there's a tendency to want to cut loose on this. So in the first video, we can see his first attempts, and he goes for the good hold and then swings off. Next, we get him to try and hold this position in isolation. So to almost reverse engineer where his hips had to be and see, is it possible to have your feet still on the wall when you're in that extended position? And we find with a little bit of effort, it's possible to keep that toe down, but we can see there's this arch in the back. We can see the ribs are up and the ass is twerked out. And then once we can sort of tuck those hips in, bring those ribs down, he's got a bit more room, so it's not quite as stretched out for him to keep that foot on. The next step is to try to do the move, and we can see to start with he's still jumping up, trying to reach the far hold, and the feet are coming up. But really what we need to be doing is bringing the hips into the wall, and that'll give us the length. So initially we see the hips don't quite come in far enough, so you're still coming out from the wall. Hips have to come in to get the length. And then the next one, hips are in, but he's just a little bit too low. And then finally, he hits the hold with the hips nice into the wall, not too high, keep the feet on, engages the core, sticks the move. So I really like this process of reverse engineering what the tension has to be like, what the posture has to be like, and doing these seemingly impossible tension moves. So a lot of the time when we're doing these hard moves, we're climbing something that's really stretched out, our attention, our focus goes to the hands, and then it leaves the core and the feet, and that contributes to cutting loose. So Justin and Hakan are going to talk a little bit more about exercises you can do to strengthen the core and increase the mobility in your pelvis. And I think the more that we can think about the core and that chain, the better we're going to be able to climb instead of just thinking about your hands. Cool. So let us know what you think. Any requests, suggestions, comments are greatly appreciated. And see you next time.